Morning, everyone. I haven't been able to do a video blog for the past few days. I just was really busy, and today I have the opportunity. And I wanted to look at this Comex Default story we've been seeing on many websites that I follow, and many of you probably follow that. Hey, Comex Default, this and that, and just wanted to say one few things about that. Number one, this is not an attack video on anybody whatsoever. These are just my own thoughts, my own thinking process, or what's going on in my head, and I'm just laying it out here. And the last time we saw a lot of talk about the Comex Default, right? This was, you could see the date here, April 15th, 2013, okay? And a lot of stackers were saying, let's stack some silver because of the Bin Laden anniversary, right? The goal was to stack some silver in order to defeat the banksters on May 1st, 2013, the 2-year anniversary of the Bin Laden raid. But let's go to this article, which was written by Bill Holter of Miles Franklin. And this is what I was talking about last year. I actually did some videos about this. And what the interesting part about it, before I get into this video, is that once I started to do videos about this, two of the big three silver websites blacklisted me, meaning that my work was no longer allowed on these channels because I started to cover these issues, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty interesting. I used to get like 1,500, 2,000 views per video, and then it slowly but steadily went down, and I think that was the reason why my video count went down. But I think it was for a good thing if my videos are blacklisted. But anyways, let's get into this. Alright, notice this line. The comics will default in the next week or several weeks, and people will be settled with dollars. No more metal will be delivered. So knowing that game over has arrived, they are dumping a massive volume of paper contracts with impunity to push the metal prices as low as possible before the default. This way, the shorts do not have to and will not be covered when supply cannot be obtained because of an act of God. They will be settled in cash at a profit, no less. Because these unforeseen disruptions in supply, who could have seen it coming, will be the mantra. I would suspect that banking stress and bail-ins will also become prevalent globally. The pricing structure will now push any and all physical sellers away from the markets, and the door to safety is effectively being shut. Either you own metal or you don't. I tried to be nice in my piece from last night, talking to those who worry about price. What is now happening is exactly what I spoke of. You must count ounces because availability is going away right here and right now. After the closure of the Comex and LBMA doors, there will be no availability and price will be meaningless. Your ability to protect yourself is right now, for all intents and purposes, being eliminated. Okay, so let's get this straight. Bill Holter, dated April 15, 2013, stated that the Comex will default in the next week or several weeks, and people will be settled with dollars. No more metal will be delivered. Comex still around as of right now. Now, that being said, is there hanky-panky stuff going on behind the scenes? I wouldn't doubt it, because these guys are banksters, right? Banksters always rig markets to a certain degree. So, that's something to note. I'm not denying that whoever Bill Holter's source was is wrong. No. There could have been some issues at the Comex during that time. Could have been a just-in-time inventory situation? Sure. Or could it have been other problems? We don't know what was going on because, number one, all of us don't work there. So a lot of it's speculation. Sometimes you get rumors from sources and then you run with it. And I think this is the thing about that. So whenever I hear Comex Default in this week or that week, or when I hear a story, now my auditing sense comes to me. I should exert, or that's what it's called, exert like professional skepticism. That's an auditing term. Even though I don't audit, right now I do try to question a lot of the stories that come to me. Before, I would have like run with it, right? And I would have said, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, your sources are right. I mean, you've been right for 10 years on the gold price, so you probably have credibility. That was my old me, right? Those are the old videos. But now I'm starting to question some of these things. This is what's going on in my head right now. So let's just look at some other sites that actually cover this. Just look at this. This is Brother John F. Once again, this is not an attack video on Brother John F. and on Bill Holter. These are just my opinions. And this is a video that he did, dated, April 16, 2013. It was called Force Majeure. And the day before, I think, Bill Holter did a video on the Comex Default in 1 week. So, get this. 23,605 people viewed this. Just remember that, okay? So, just keep in mind, a story that started out with Bill Holter, and I believe that Bill Holter was given information from a source. Now, who's that source? I don't know. This is what I remember hearing. So, if people remember what happened during that time, just let me know, because I'm just going off of what happened 8 months ago. And we could look at another site that covered this. Alright, this is off of Silver Doctors. And if you look at the headline, and this is dated April 17th. This is like a day after Brother John F. did a video. It's called Force Majeure. It was the end game all along. Comex will default in the next week. Alright, and you could see 159 comments. That's a lot of comments, by the way. And it says, I don't know if 673 people liked it on Facebook, but regardless, okay? I mean, you got so many people, what is it called, talking about force majeure, and a lot of people probably saw this article. I mean, once again, before, when I started doing these videos, I used to believe a lot that was said, and not that all stories are false, right, that come off of these sites. I do believe that some of them may not be true. Even though the people posting these stories may believe they're true, the thing is that their sources, when Bill Holter, I think he got that information. Now, who gave that information to him? And I remember when I used to interview Bill Murphy, he used to say, like, big news is going to come on the way, right? And it just seemed that the opposite happened. And then he actually admitted that he was duped, right? At least he admits that, okay? So kudos to Bill Murphy for that. I think I was listening to it on one interview that he did that, yeah, we got duped, but he still thinks that we see big moves ahead. So that's what Bill Murphy's saying. But all I'm trying to say is that when you see a story about like a Comex default, we've seen this before, right? That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen in the future. It could or couldn't happen. I mean, even David Morgan. David Morgan is not a sensational individual. He believes that it's going to happen. It's going to turn into a cash settlement situation. And their thesis is that everything's rehypothecated. I don't know if it's totally rehypothecated. I mean, look at the MF Global case. I mean, some of the things that they're saying could make sense. But whenever I hear this Comex default story time in and time out, and it doesn't happen, I'm like, okay. I mean, I still have silver, right? I still have my portfolio of gold and silver, don't get me wrong. But when I hear these stories, I'm like, let me think about this for a second. And last thing I want to talk about is I did a video, let's see, May 12th, 2013. I said that this is a Comex default propaganda, right? I think that I should have stated in a different way. I shouldn't have gone out the way that I did with this video. I should have maybe said that, let me just rephrase it. I should have just said it in a maybe friendlier tone than I did in that video, I felt, and in the title. And the way that I look at it is that I think people do believe this story. There's no doubt. But I think there may be other individuals who are just simply pushing this story in order to sell items and goods. So I think there are half the people that truly believe this, and then there are the other half that are just simply exaggerating the story in order to get people in to silver. I think that's what's going on here. Eventually, I do believe that if we continue to monetize all of this debt, we are going to see disruptions in the financial system, in my opinion. Now the question is, when is that going to occur? And that is the trillion-dollar question. I mean, some people are telling me it could take decades. Some people are telling me it could take a few years. I've had people that I've interviewed saying that it could be any day. I don't believe it's going to be any day. I think they could push it off to I don't know, at least a few years, maybe a couple of decades. But if we don't cease and desist, that's what I'm scared of. And I hope that this money that's on the sidelines doesn't come into play. I really hope we get a deflationary depression. I really hope. Because at least with deflation, we get our currency back. I'd rather see a debt default situation rather than printing our way like some of these third world countries have and destroyed their middle class. I hope we don't see that. But anyways, guys, these are my own thoughts. So whenever you hear the Comex Default story or any other stories going forward, remember just to think twice about it, research what was said in the past, and then you could make your own decisions whether or not you want to agree with these stories. Okay? Thanks a lot for listening. Talk to you later. Bye.